for a SMB merchant who is sending only 400 packages is very different. The medium large merchant who are shipping 80,000 parcels. So what do we do with ShipAccel where it can solve the needs? So we did two things very well. We said we will have a UI solution for our clients with certain features, but we will also have an API solution, which is a technology which they can integrate, which will help them go into a space where they don't need a user interface. They want to just integrate with these high-speed solution to print labels 10 in 10 seconds, 20 in 30 seconds. The complexity of cross-border shipping, if companies can solve, shipping solutions can solve that for them, it is very important piece because there is a landed cost, there is a customs cost where their product can be caged at customs. They want to make sure that is seamless. If you are a merchant and you're trying to ship multiple packages, you can choose to, depending on if you want the client to be able to return those packages, you can print the return label alongside, and that's also part of our business rules.
So on this episode of the 2x eCommerce podcast, we're breaking down how to streamline your operations and keep up with customer expectations through smarter automated shipping solutions.
It's the 2x eCommerce podcast, hosted by Kunle Campbell.
So welcome to the 2x eCommerce podcast. Today's episode is all about helping you optimize your e-commerce operations. If you're feeling the pressure to offer faster delivery, manage returns seamlessly, and reduce your shipping cost, this episode is for you. I'm joined by Gitika from ShipAccel, and we're diving into how automation and strategic tech can simplify these challenges. We'll unpack why shipping automation is critical for scaling your business efficiently and how ShipAccel was designed specifically to support businesses like yours. From small brands shipping a few hundred parcels a month to operations dealing with tens of thousands, you'll hear practical advice on reducing manual tasks, boosting fulfillment speed, and even expanding internationally without losing control over cost. Stay tuned if you're looking to improve your post-purchase experience and drive long-term growth. And remember, if you haven't already, hit the follow on your preferred podcast platform. It helps us bring more valuable content and industry insights to grow your e-commerce business. Hi, Gitika. How's it going?
Hello, Kunle. All good?
Okay. It's been a long time coming. I've been looking forward to this convo. You're at ShipAccel. It's part of another company. I'd like you to just give listeners a bit of an introduction about you, what you're doing right now at ShipAccel.
So thank you, Kunle, for the introduction. So I work for Pitney Bowes and our new e-commerce platform that we launched, and I lead our products and platforms in Pitney Bowes, and we are building products, but we are defining products for fulfilling the needs of all the shipper segments that are there in the market.
Super interesting. So Pitney Bowes is I think you guys are over 100 years old. ShipAccel is a relatively new app, and you're a technology person. So what is your background? How did you get into what you're doing today?
That's an interesting question. And to be precise, we are 105-year-old now. And we always call ShipAccel as one of our newest babies, and which we absolutely see and believe is going to grow very quick and very fast. You ask an interesting question about my personal story, and I feel personally I can relate myself to what we are trying to do in the organization, which markets we are trying to hit. So let me just step back a little bit and talk about me. As you said, I'm a technologist. I'm an engineer from my trade, and I have always been very curious. But with my curiosity, there was always this element with me on what is the purpose of what we are doing in the corporate and building products, and why are we building products? What problems are we really trying to solve? as I got into that journey of curiosity, you always meet these interesting people day to day, and you hear to them, especially when I moved to Connecticut and roamed in the New York area. You actually meet the most diverse population, and you meet a lot of these startup companies. And when I say startups are really these small mom and pop shops selling muffins, selling some jewelry, and they are trying to grow their businesses, and they're trying to get a step into the door of running a small e-commerce business, because having a brick and mortar shop is becoming more and more expensive. So I met in my last few years, I have met a couple of these small commerce companies who are still trying to put their feet on the ground. And one thing that they all talk commonly to me is their biggest struggle is not about getting the inventory of the products they want to sell, but how to ship it to their clients in that ever evolving needs, where every receiver of the product want the product to be available to them very next day. They want it with a speed coming to them without, especially when COVID happened, I think people just were all remote and they wanted the product that they are ordering. And Amazon has raised the bar for many people to get the receiving the product in a single day. And that all hit my mind in a way where I'm like, okay, we as a Pitney Bowes have always been into mailing. We have been trying to also address the segment of e-commerce clients some way by doing shipping too. Office segment has been our very key area, but e-commerce shipping was the area where we could grow and fulfill the need of these clients who are trying to get their step into the door, but then they also want to grow. When they grow, they don't want to move out of the solution. Do you have these clients? And that's where I think this idea of thinking of the journey of these people who are a startup and can become a large enterprise at some point of time, and their shipping needs is what has been my key driver of thinking, what do we build and how do we build and how do we make it easy for these clients?
I really picked up on your curiosity, the curious mind. It's so fundamental to have a curious mind to do big things, in my opinion. And this shipping problem is a very specific problem in operations, and it in it has a lot of opportunities shipping, and because it directly links to customer satisfaction, instant gratification. If it's done, you can amplify the utility or the positive emotion customers will have by hitting that buy button and getting what they anticipate to get fairly quickly. But prior to Pitney Bowes and ShipAccel, what was that journey like? What were you involved in? I'm just curious again. I'm being curious here.
So I think curiosity, but also that I always believe that technology can solve anything. And being a technologist from heart, I played role of being a technology consultant and being a problem solver for people. I do it at my home, I do it with my friends, and I do it when I am at my workplace. I have this personal mantra for me that if you understand the problem well of anything or anything around you, you can solve it. And sometimes I make it tricky when I'm in my family, because I try to solve things and then people just assume that I'm going to come with a solution. So for me, problem solving as a human with the technology that is evolving can be achieved. And that's my 9 yards of the life. Okay. So if somebody tells me something cannot be solved, for me, impossible is not even a word. But how do you do it gracefully and in a way where people really can hook onto that solution that you're providing is important, and adoption is important. And how do you do and tell them the purpose of that is also important.
Remember our chat in May earlier this season, episode 33 with Sam Piliero about scaling from $1 to $10 million with Google Ads? If you're already using reviews but feel like you're not getting enough, there's a faster way. With Reviews.io's Review Booster, You can collect reviews not only from new customers, but also from past customers. So you're not waiting around for fresh orders to start building trust. So all you need to do is upload a list of customer details, and reviews.io will handle the rest, automatically sending out review requests with customized email invitations. This means that you can get more reviews on your site quickly, helping boost your credibility. One of my personal favorite ways to extend the reach of our reviews is through their review management feature. It allows us to distribute reviews to third-party platforms like Trustpilot or Facebook. You can either send 100% of your reviews there, or let reviews.io automatically spread them based on where you need the most visibility. It's a smart way to amplify your brand's presence across multiple channels and build trust with potential customers. And if you're stuck in a long-term contract with another provider like Yotpo or Kendo, Lux, or Stamped, reviews.io makes switching easy for listeners of the 2x e-commerce podcast with their contract buyout program. There's no need to overpay for a service that isn't delivering the results you expect. Reviews.io will buy out your current contract and offer flexible, no commitment monthly plans so you can switch today without the hassle of being locked in. So, ready to make your reviews work harder for your business? Get 10% off your first year with reviews.io by mentioning 2x e-commerce when you sign up. New customers only, terms and conditions apply. Okay, now let's step up a little bit into the world of e-commerce. And as you said, understanding a problem well is the cornerstone to everything. What megatrends? So obviously, you also mentioned COVID, which is quite interesting, which has been a great accelerator to just digital adoption across the board. And it's very interesting. You mentioned, mom and pop shops across North America and even the world when you think about it, and how they've also needed to digitize. The transformation hasn't been as significant as bigger corporations and enterprises, but they've had to significantly adjust and get their products to their customers because convenience is now a thing. Everybody expects speed, delivery, and all of that stuff. What trends since COVID have you seen from Pitney Bowes as a shipping company? What trends have you seen, and what essential problems have arisen? What challenges are e-commerce businesses essentially seeing right now?
So this is again, you mentioned about Pitney Bowes being a shipping company, and so we had been doing two things very, very well. When it comes to office shipping, I think we have been doing fantastic. When it comes to e-commerce, we had been a part of the logistic business also, but the e-commerce technology, when I look at the trends, there are a few things that matters to people. Same day delivery, it's becoming such an important aspect. Like everybody wants the product right there on the same day or a next day delivery. So the timing has become very important, especially the patience of people is reducing over time. So I would say timing. Then it comes to the cost. Everybody wants free shipping. So how do you reduce the cost of shipping, and how do you reduce the cost of the operations of the companies who are running that is very important. But those two have always been the aspect of the trends of the shipping. But what is getting interesting is the branded tracking. So let me explain that a little bit. Once you order a product, you want a real-time information of where your product is. So getting that information in a real time through data is becoming very crucial for the client as well as the merchant, both sides. They want to make sure their product is not lost in between, and the client is able to track that information. What you will find in tracking, which is getting interesting, is if I have ordered a product, I don't want another website telling me or a carrier telling me when my product is reaching. I want branded tracking. So if I ordered something from JCrew, I want the tracking to be coming from JCrew as well. So how do you provide that branded tracking where people feel their privacy is protected, they are feeling more in control? So that is becoming very important. Other pieces that you would be interesting or finding interesting is cross-border. A lot of those international shipment, all these merchants, as they start growing, they don't want to just ship in a domestic fashion. They also want to send their products out of the country. The complexity of cross-border shipping, if companies can solve, shipping solutions can solve that for them, it is very important piece, because there is a landed cost, there is a customs cost where their product can be caged at customs. They want to make sure that is seamless. So that is becoming an important trend as well. But last but not the least, I would say returns. Most of us order products, but we want an easy way to return them. We don't like them. And how do you get that return solution embedded there, where the receivers are finding a way to also initiate the return from the same solution that they are getting, is another important. So it's in combination. It is, if I talk about few things, it is about tracking, optimized costs, returns, as well as branded tracking and same day next delivery, which are, I would say, the larger trends right now in the e-commerce space.
I love that. I love that a lot. I love that because there's a lot of concentration, and this podcast is guilty of that, on all that happens before they buy. So we focus a lot in the e-commerce world on what the website looks like, media buying, marketing, and then when they buy, you're like, okay, our job is over. But there's an equally important role in, particularly operational, in ensuring that your customer satisfaction scores are off the roof. They're 9 or 10. And the only way to do that is really perfect that post-purchase experience. So your point in regards to their expectations is very important. The speed, in terms of their speed, the ease of returns, the ability to ship overseas, especially given the fact that when you're on social media, the entire world sees you. You have that world platform. And so demand can come from anywhere. So these are really interesting mega trends. Now, in regards to how you're solving the problem at ShipAccel, what are the biggest problems you said, okay, this is what we're going to tackle? Sorry, the other point I wanted to make was the ability to track in real time amongst all of them, that expectation, that baseline expectation from customers. So when you were building out ShipAccel, what was the biggest problem you said we just have to solve and it trumps all other issues?
Yeah, I think that's a brilliant question, Kunle, because if you really look in the market, there are many companies who are serving the needs and many solutions that are serving the needs in one way or other. So this is where our tagline for ShipAccel is, and how we thought we will be able to differentiate ourselves. From talking about a small e-tailers to the entrepreneurs who are just probably shipping packages less than 400 per month, to clients who are more of those mom and pop shop who might actually go till 5,000 packages per month, to mid and large enterprise who can actually go greater than 80,000 parcels. So this is a whole spectrum of entrepreneurs to the large enterprises. The sweet spot is not in the entrepreneurs and the large enterprise, but in the SMB and the mid-large segment, which is between 400 parcel to 80,000 parcels. Having a solution that can help our clients who are like those shops who are just having 400 parcel to, as they grow subsequently and still stay on the same solution, has been our key differentiator in terms of how we are building ShipAccel for today and for future. So let me try to unpack that a little bit. That's a very longer way of explaining you the tagline of our product, but the problem sets that are for a SMB merchant who is sending only 400 packages is very different. The medium large merchant who is a retail who are shipping 80,000 parcels. So what do we do with ShipAccel where it can solve the needs? So we did two things very well. We said we will have a UI solution for our clients with certain features, but we will also have an API solution, which is a technology which they can integrate, which will help them go into a space where they don't need a user interface. They want to just integrate with these high-speed solution to print labels 10 in 10 seconds, 20 in 30 seconds. How do you get them that performance? Because they are growing big and time is of essence for them because they are in a warehouse kind of setting. So this is what we did very well. So we focused on the key challenges that I talked about. We built this feature, which is around business rule, automated business rules. And this automated business rule is one of our key features on ShipAccel, if you go and explore, which allows clients to set the rules. So if I am a merchant and tomorrow I am the one sending 2,000 packages and 100 of these packages are going to the same zip code, I don't want to go and print them one by one. I want to set a business rule that any package going from A to B will be using a carrier FedEx or UPS. I will then say, I want to put return label with each of them. I want to offer branded tracking on each of them. I will set all of these rules of printing a label prior. So when I come next day, I will just hit that rule and it will start printing labels, which I can just click on. So I'm saving so much time for my merchants. So business rules has been one of our key areas. Now, if I shift the gear a little bit on the SMB kind of clients, think about these clients. When I said that they are putting 400 packages a month, they might be selling from different channels like eBay, Amazon, Shopify's of the world. Now they want to consolidate all these orders on different channels into a single solution and print labels all together. So what ShipAccel allows them is to consolidate order from these different e-commerce marketplaces onto a single solution and then print the labels. So we made it easy, thinking of not just a SMB client, but also focusing on that mid and large segment. And we are still evolving and we will continue evolving this platform to fulfill the needs. But that has been our key differentiator. And I just gave you those two examples.
I like that. I like that. So for the mid and somewhat large enterprises from an e-commerce standpoint, doing like 80,000 shipments per month, you're looking more about how can we streamline and automate processes so things are faster. So rather than having to manually print out on a one-to-one basis, you have business rules that have some intelligence in them saying, okay, based on this delivery location, based on even this size, use this carriers, and there's that flexibility, platform flexibility to really, really streamline and automate, which is brilliant. And then you have a more you still have those functions for the SMEs, but what really works for the SMEs is becoming multi-channel to grow. If they're able to tap into an Amazon, into an eBay, into their Shopify, they all of a sudden, and their physical stores, they all of a sudden have multiple channels. And if they have a single sort of warehouse or delivery spot, all that is streamlined there for them to serve all channels. So are you seeing, so my guess is that for at the mid-tier, I call it mid-tier, you're seeing more integrations with warehouse management systems, I would think, and with the
Absolutely.
SMEs, they're using the UI in their spaces, and just it's more like a DIY type thing where they're using it, where it's owner operator just trying to print out labels, or someone in the facilities is doing it, using it.
Absolutely. And I think you said it. So for these SMBs, yes, the channels, but for them, they also don't have very special rates with the carrier. So what we also offer on our ShipAccel platform is these special rates, which we have our own negotiations with the carrier. We do have rates with USPS to UPS to FedExes and with DHL. So we can offer these special rates and discounts to our clients and they can save a lot of money. And it's so important for this SMB segment about how do you optimize cost? How do you optimize speed? Optimization is the keyword for them. But when it comes to large, mid and large, efficiency is the most important thing because they generally have already a negotiated rate with the carrier. They actually want to use the carrier they have. So we have a flexibility in this platform to even bring carrier if a certain merchant has already have a negotiated rate. So while we offer certain carrier, we can bring their carrier and their rates as well. That keeps our platform very open. So tomorrow, if you have a new channel, which is not on our solution, it can be integrated and brought in. You talked about WMSs. and inventory management system and ERP system. We're also having NetSuite and Microsoft CRM as those two integrations, which are more for the mid and large in our ShipAccel platform today.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And where are you seeing more traction now? I know you're not even a year old as we record this. You're a few months old, but where are you seeing more exciting opportunities and activity? Is it in the SME space or the mid-market at this point in time?
So that's another brilliant question. So you are right. We launched this product in September when we announced it. So we are really very young in the market, and it's amazing and beautiful to see the different trends and what's happening. Right now, we are getting a lot of attention of even e-tailers, entrepreneurs, and SMB segments. The interesting part is we have a lot of inquiries and a lot of questions coming from our mid and large. We still have work to do to evolve ourselves to the needs of mid and large, which we are already working with as we speak. But at this point, SMB segment is our sweeter spot, and mid and large is where we need to be, and where we will grow.
Okay. So you're making that progress. Now, another point you touched on was returns. I want you to please speak to trends in returns, expectations, and all of that stuff, and how ShipAccel is viewing solving the returns problem, because there are some sort of purpose-built applications for returns in the market now, at least in Shopify's ecosystem. I'm curious to know how you're viewing the problem and how that can quite easily be integrated into shipments.
I think that goes back to the core of what I was talking about ShipAccel. We are trying to make it a one-stop shop for the whole end-to-end experience for our events, basically. This process is integrated within ShipAccel in a way that if you are a merchant and you're trying to ship multiple packages, you can choose to, depending on if you want the client to be able to return those packages, you can print the return label alongside, and that's also part of our business rules. You can decide which product of yours which you want to allow clients to return. Returns is integrated within our solution of ShipAccel today. What happens with that is, as clients are trying to print the labels, they can also choose to print the return label and allow the clients to store it in the box that they are sending and shipping to their clients. Instead of going onto another platform from return perspective, the returns workflow is our homegrown solution that has been built inside the ShipAccel platform today.
Okay, and the labels are there. It's linked to the order, to the line item in your Shopify. It just makes it seamless. Okay. That makes sense. And then from a branded tracking perspective, how are you seeing this problem and solving it?
Yeah, so that's where the technology comes in picture, right? A lot of our clients, when they are even using ShipAccel platform, they want to have a website which shows that if it is there. So for example, let's say I'm a Kunle shop, and the Kunle shop wants the Kunle's logo on the shipping solution as well. So the flexibility in our platform, it will let you brand the website from where you are shipping with the name or the logo Kunle. That's number one. Number two, when you sell the product and the product is going, when you come to the tracking, you can custom the logos and the colors and the names and the messaging around that in a very custom way. So that is how flexible the ShipAccel platform is, so that Pitney Bowes or ShipAccel is working behind, but you as a merchant sees it as a integrated shipping solution that belongs to you and your employees. And that's where the power of technology comes in.
Makes a lot of sense. And then the final sort of mega trend you spoke to was shipping internationally. I was shopping the other time on a store of actually a guest of this podcast. They sell bed sheets, and lo and behold, they couldn't ship to the UK. So I had to ship to relatives home in the US, and they're quite a sizable business. So how are you viewing this? Because as you said, that's the tax implications, the landed cost, import duties, and it's best if all of this is paid at checkout rather than you getting a letter in your house saying, hey, there's a package for you to pick up at the post office. However, there's a $20 or £20 bill. So how are you solving the problem at ShipAccel?
I think this is one of the areas where even if I go beyond ShipAccel, Pitney Bowes has excelled in having the cross-border integrations, even with some of the very, very large marketplaces in the past. And we saw an opportunity as we were launching ShipAccel. That's where the curiosity of how do we solve end-to-end problems of the client. We had this asset of cross-border APIs, which allows us to integrate them in the ShipAccel, where what we are trying to provide client upfront is a landed cost based on some of our AI data and engines which are running behind, and looking at all the shipments that have been traveling from A to B point and C to D, on how do we, because end of the day, you cannot get to the landed cost, which is super accurate, but you can be very precise. You don't want to surprise the clients by telling that the $10 product, either a receiver or them have to pay $100 for the customs. So based on that data and the AI model and engines that we have, we are now at a point where we can arrive at a closest recommended cost that we believe client would have to pay or the receiver would have to pay. So that's the data and analytics and AI that we have today. And this recommendation engine is pretty close to provide that landed cost to the clients. And this is the work that in ShipAccel, as I said, we are integrating. I won't say it is there today. That's where we are trying to make it an end-to-end international experience for sending their packages as well. So it's almost a work in progress, I would say.
Absolutely. It just opens up opportunity to more revenue, right, internationally, and with not too much of an effort without having to set up there. Okay, so on just wrapping up, is there any ecosystem around Pitney Bowes and ShipAccel in regards to like packaging? I'm not saying on product packaging, I'm talking about like boxing, the taping of the cartons and all of that. So do you have any partners? How do you envision, are you focused on the technology, or are you also getting into not necessarily yourselves, but through partners with all the other aspects, the physicality of shipments, which can be a problem in the small and medium side of things. Sometimes that unboxing experience isn't quite there yet. So they just get boxes and just tape it. It's not too perfect.
Right. That raises that point about trends when we were talking. There's a lot of sustainability conversations happening at this point of time. And how do you provide the packaging? A lot of businesses are running just basis that they are sustainable businesses. So how do you support that as well? So to answer your question in short, we do have a supplies shop in Pitney Bowes because we are coming from that mailing business oriented to shipping business. So we do have a supply shop where we have the packaging available and the tapes and all of that content. But there are two parts to it. So a lot of carriers, like large box carriers like USPS, UPS to FedEx, they have their own boxes as well that they provide. So a lot of clients rely on that. And to your point, many SMBs will pick a shoebox or whatever is in their household and try to use that packaging as well. As Pitney Bowes, at this point, we do partner, but we are not majorly into that line of expanding our supplies. But are we looking at it? Absolutely, because there are certain carriers today in the market who we might choose to integrate with, who are all about sustainability and sustainable packaging, and we might delve ourselves into that. So today, yes, we are playing more with partners versus Pitney Bowes.
Makes a lot of sense. And for listeners, really, if cost efficiency is your challenge, then certainly you want to investigate and see how you want to have a conversation with ShipAccel. If just efficiency is more your issue, if you're higher up the end, you're doing 50,000, 80,000 orders a month, then automation might be where you want to have that conversation around with ShipAccel, with the ShipAccel team. What are your plans for 2025? Actually, what's the outlook looking from your perspective? What's a big problem you'll be solving moving forward in the next 6 months?
Yeah, I think that's exactly goes back to being right now being our very nascent stage of we launching a product to learning the market and SMB, getting the merchants' attention. We are trying, our 2025 focus is going to be on this mid segment and the large segment and having some interesting use cases that we are exploring, which are the problem statements. So we have a set of these alpha beta clients, as we call them, who are right now working with us to tell their day-to-day use case and what they are having a challenge, what is their pain point. So we are in a very co-innovation mode right now with few of our clients who have been identified as these retailers who would want to come to our solution, and we are working with them. So as a team, I think we are going to focus a lot on the mid and large segment as we move into 2025. By then, we feel we will be absolutely covering the needs of all the SMB. That's my hope and that's my belief is, and that's what we will be focusing on 2025.
That's incredible, Gitika. So for people who want to find out more about ShipAccel, it's just shipaccel.com, and you're on Shopify, and you have several other integrations with Amazon, eBay, and I believe WooCommerce, and more to come in the pipeline. So yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast and learning more about ShipAccel.
I appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Cheers. Amazing. That went well. Yeah, so I was right. It's about 30 minutes, just about. Okay, so thank you for tuning in to this episode of the 2x eCommerce podcast. I hope our conversation with Gitika from ShipAccel provided you with actionable insights on how to automate and optimize your shipping processes. The right tech can transform your operations, whether you're aiming to reduce cost, speed up deliveries, or better handle returns. If this episode was helpful, make sure to subscribe to the 2x eCommerce podcast. Your support allows us to bring in more expert guests and share these strategies you need to stay competitive. Please leave a review or share this episode with a fellow e-commerce operator who could benefit. Until next time, keep pushing forward and refining your e-commerce operations for growth. Thank you for listening.